So the tournament is over, and this is my recap and deck tech video. Okay, so I'll put up the result. You can see I had 4 wins. All of them was 2-0, and I also had 2 losses in round 2 and 3. In round 2 I got beaten pretty quick with a line dib deck, so it wasn't that much to do there. And I think I got a little tilted from for that brutal loss, because I did some small mistakes in game 3. For example, I forgot about the drain mana, and but I won in round 3. I won the first game, and in the second game I did what I thought was just a small mistakes, but it actually was a pretty big one. So here's a picture from the match. So my opponent cast a disenchant on my black wise. I responded with casting a Hercules Recall, targeting myself, and he responded to my Hercule with a crumble on my black wise. And I cast a Hercules Recall mostly to save my black wise, of course. But that one got destroyed, and then I forgot about the Moxes, because the Hercules Recall actually resolved. So I could have returned them to my hand and played them out again. And if I had that Mox Ruby untapped, I could have won the game with casting a red Elemental Blast later. So a small mistake that cost me the match. So that could have been a 5-1 result. Instead I got a 4-2. So you gotta play tight in these tournaments. Another side note, so I lost 4 games in this tournament, and 3 of them was due to a turn 1 library. So yeah, this is not me complaining about bad luck, because I had a lot of broken starts. So it is what it is, but library, yeah, that's always a problem. And also this tournament was me trying to be as spiky as I can. By spiky it means competitive. So since I traveled to another country and I got my wife staying home with the kids, I'm not going down there to cast Force of Nature and stuff like that. So this is me being competitive. I'm not always doing that, but sometimes I think it's cool to really try to win. So let's take a look at my deck. So what card performed well? Well, I really loved the Blackwise. They was awesome all day. Also the 12 bolt, the lightning bolt, chain lightning, sonic blast. Those were all awesome. The abyss, I don't think I killed anything the entire tournament. But also the sit in a bottle, that didn't do anything, and I sided them out all day. But this is a very small sample size, so it's kind of bad to draw any conclusion after only 6 matches. But yeah, that's what I got. So let's talk about it. The Hercules Recall, it was okay, but I really love to have them. It's such a fun card just to have in your hand and look at your opponent's artifacts, how many cards they have in their hand, and maybe I have a couple of black wises in play. So it's a thing that you can have in your hand and sit to think about and find the perfect spot to bounce those artifacts and maybe get a sneaky win with a blackwise, or just disrupt draw 7 effect. So I think the 2 Hercules will stay in. Another unusual thing with this deck is that I don't play with any creatures except for Misha's Factory, and yeah, I kind of felt that when I was sideboarding, because I couldn't sideboard out any burn spells because I need a critical number of them. So yeah, so I felt kind of limited when I was sideboarding. And for example, a normal Counterburn deck can switch from being aggressive to be more controlling, and this deck doesn't have any or very few control elements, so the counter spells felt a little misplaced there. So that could maybe have been cover tablets or something else that does damage. Speaking of artifacts, there was mostly those 4 black wises in my deck, so with all those white decks going around with the Disenchants and Divine Offering and Dust to Dust, I feel pretty good about that matchup, because yeah, I don't need my artifacts that much, and my black wise, if it does 3 damage the first turn, then that is fine. So all in all, the deck was awesome, but I don't think you should just copy paste my 75. I think it really depends on the meta game. For example, the City in a Bottle wasn't good, and the Abyss wasn't good, but if I played against Merfolks and mono-green decks, then the Abyss would have been great, so that's something to think about. Also, playing black is something I'm maybe cutting in the future. I would love to play just blue and red and have Blood Moons and Black Wise and some Hercules Recall. So let's see what we end up with. But yeah, great tournament. I met a lot of cool people, and all my opponents were awesome. So that's it for me today. And yes, I have a new sweater. Yeah, we're a pretty new club, but we'll get there. Gotta get some merch and some buttons and patches. So yeah, that was the end of the Eel tournament. Next time, or in the meantime, we have had another farmstead tournament at our farm, so I'll make a video of that next week. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.